office, how different, how will you going to tackle this? Because we have been seeing checkpoints, bases, always repelling attack. Always, almost always. We have repelled, successfully repelled. And we are told that the best way to defend is to attack. So as the commander-in-chief, how are you going to tackle this insecurity once and for all? And then we'll move to the next thing that is disturbing us, because we cannot progress as people if we don't secure life and property, we don't secure our borders. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to use both my left and right hemispheres actually to answer a medical question. Well, you will remember back in the primary healthcare days, I think this is, I think the 50th anniversary, or even 40th anniversary of primary healthcare, 40th specifically. Now more than ever came 10 years earlier, where mental health, dental health is a core component of what primary healthcare activities should be. But you realize that even in the more established, mature health system like the NHS of England, the dental services is outside some of the coverage of the NHS service, so as the ophthalmology services and so on. And I understand that even today, Britain is looking for over 40,000 nurses, even before the final Brexit deal come to, fruition and so on. So the whole world is scarce of what health manpower is a big issue. And you will agree with me that there are fewer dental surgeons. We just had our College of Dental Surgery in Kano, despite that our medical school has been in existence for quite a while. So it's in our dream actually to use big telescopic eyes that Sowore and I have actually to clone more dental surgeons and more dental therapists across Nigeria, and not to have this skewed distribution. They should all be at the primary levels actually dependent on the case, and then we go up into secondary and tertiary, and it's also in our dream to have a very 21st century kind of healthcare service where some centers are going to be even supra-tertiary in nature, so that you can train people and then have them actually distributed across the country. So a key to this is actually to hold primary healthcare very dear to our hearts, and of course to see that dental health services are being given the due attention. Hardly people have their teeth examined, which should be at least annually, you understand, so that you prevent dental caries, you can prevent other conditions that affect the mouth. Do you get what I'm saying? And then we are going to collaborate, because it's, you know it from training, it's quite multidisciplinary in nature, because some of it is a bit of surgical, but some of it is public health, because you need some public health knowledge and public health actions like health promotion and health education to achieve much. I understand it's an area that did not receive the right attention from previous government, so thankfully I'm one that has some eyes into it. We will spread it all across the country. Even as I speak to you now, there are fewer College of Dentistries across our medical schools, you understand. From here, you have to go far Maiduguri. It would be important, as there's a medical school now coming up in Dusi actually, to start thinking about faculty of dentistry. Thankfully now the number is increasing, but it's not in keeping with the demands that we need. From here to Sokoto, a stretch of land that there are no dental schools. So you are speaking to somebody that actually is passionate about public health, and what you are saying can be or should be tackled first by public health actions, rather than the more tertiary stuff that we want to also think about. Sowore and I always talk about how we can put so much technology into it. At a point in time, I was putting hands into clinical decision support system, into developing algorithms to help doctors, so that we don't rely only on our cognitive abilities to solve human diseases, but we can also use the technology to leverage our clinical governance. So your question is very apt, and this is how we go about. I hope you are convinced, not confused.
Yes, I just want to answer the question related to...
Okay, before you answer, sorry, just a minute. Sorry, I, as one of the senior people gathering here, one of the people behind this gathering, I would like to actually seize this opportunity to welcome you.
Thank you.
And your team to Kano and to Kano Teaching Hospital. and to the Medical and Dental Consultants Association's lounge within Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Together with us are the Association of Resident Doctors that are also part of us. I believe there is some element of hierarchy in whatever we do. In our midst here, we have the two former presidents of the Medical and Dental Nigerian Medical Association Kano State Branch, and the past two chairmen of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria Kano State Branch also, in person of Dr. Rabiu Ibrahim and Professor Muhammad. I believe we probably should give them an opportunity before you give us a red card to go, or a yellow card. I think Dr. Rabiu and Dr. Mohammed might be given some minutes to say a word or two before our questions and answer sessions, as we are within their territory. Yes. Thank you very much for allowing that.
Well, I'm the chairman, I can't afford to sit down when my president is sitting down. Your Excellencies, you have done an honor. You've given us an honor on maybe 2-3 situations which we must show our appreciation. One, you have done an honor to medical profession, which I think is the first time we are witnessing that, to have a member contesting and inshallah going to be the #2 citizen of this country. So it's an honor not just to us here in Kano, it is an honor to the medical profession. Secondly, it is also an honor to deem it fit to visit a crop of intellectuals who may have a say, but may not be the big mix of the society politically when you look at that. Because what politicians weigh individuals to be, they weigh them based on how heavy is their pocket. Yes. But we thank you for this honor, because this shows that you have valued the weight of our brains. Excellent. So thank you very much for this honor. And it is also an honor to come to our midst. This shows how humble you are and how humble the ideology of AAC is. So we thank you for these honors, and we will continue to remember that. Today I think my CV has raised to the sky level, because for the first time I'm sitting in front of two excellencies. Come February 16th, our level have changed. This is not the type of change you were talking about. Yes. So sir, we are going to contribute intellectually and in many other ways to your campaign, and also to shape your administration when you come February 2019. We are going to form a think tank where we are going to advise, where we are going to maybe draw a pathway so that healthcare in particular in this country will be improved and be taken to the highest level, not just the next level. Secondly, we are urging you, sir, there is no healthcare system in the whole world that has developed fully without private medical practice transferring to the level of an international standard. There must be a deliberate effort from any good government to see that it has delivered both public and private world-class healthcare services in each of the countries. All the places where people are going for medical tourism are going to those places to attend hospitals that are packaged, assisted by the government for deliberate government policies that you may not even find the manpower that we have here. To tell you the truth, I have been practicing as a specialist for close to 15 years. But naturally, there is no significant improvement in taking my practice to a level that I wish. So this is one of the reasons why people are not satisfied. It's not even monetary. Everybody wants to help his own kings and kings. But if you are not satisfied with the level of service you offer, people will start thinking elsewhere. It is mainly technology driven. We want your government to critically look at healthcare as a major source of internally generated revenue in the country than even oil. Most places now, healthcare provide their IGR more than any other commodity that they have or they are blessed with. You can only do that if you deliberately target the public hospitals by creating a special fund, like what I call tertiary health institution trust fund, that can help develop the facility, train our members. Whoever you see training in Nigeria now is only doing it out of his sweat. There is no deliberate effort to fund training. So if we can have that, you will develop the public health care to a special level that it will serve the people. And it must also target the private healthcare facilities by deliberately creating a zero-level financing so that we can develop our private services to the world-class level where people will now be coming. We will now turn the tide so that instead of medical tourism, we will now be the tourism hub of healthcare in Nigeria. We can do that by so many ways. I don't want to bother you too much, but we will package whatever ideas that we have through one of our own so that it will reach you. We thank you for this honor. We appreciate your coming and we will support you always. I will add another Hausa vocabulary. Muma Mumbi. We too
are Mr. President and his Vice President in waiting. It's a great honor and privilege to stand before my colleagues and you to address you, but I will try and be brief because of time. I will not dwell much on health issues because I have a firm belief that I have nothing to add with the number two as an international health policy expert of repute. So I'm sure he has all that it takes, better than my humble self, to advise you on health policy issues. As you are number two, we want to recall, we share similar ideologies, the NEPU ideologies, the concern for the downtrodden. Currently, as things are in Nigeria, I have a firm belief that you would agree with me that the way government is being run will not take us anywhere because it is far to the exclusive preserve of the elites and to the denigration of the downtrodden. By far, in the whole of the globe, the way our system of government governance is run is the most expensive. I stand to be corrected. And we cannot achieve much if this trend continues to be. And I hope, I don't want to give you much details about that. It is my hope that when you assume office, that must be changed to the benefit of the majority of the populace. Because what we have in our government treasury is for all, not for only those few. And all the adequate policies and legislations that should reverse such trends should and must be put in place. That is the only way that many indices, including other social indices, could be changed for a better for our Nigerian system. I have not much to add, but to wish us, the movement of the African Action Congress, successes, not only in this forthcoming February 2019 election, because it's a continuous struggle.
Yes.
We must continue to strive. Right from this and onwards, the struggle must continue. We cannot afford to let Nigeria go down into history.
Yeah.
The history must be rewritten in the right way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Yes, Chairman, thank you so much. I want to say quickly that when we started out to run, we did a survey of Nigerians all over the world and asked what is their main priority. It turns out to be health. Most Nigerians, about 70% of the respondents said they want improvement in health care to them. A lot of people can't find doctors whenever they want. And I want to also add to what the VP just said about how we intend to solve some of this problem, that our solution is a universal healthcare policy that will make it possible for both the downtrodden and the rich to have access to healthcare in this country, and not only in the areas that we're used to, but other areas, like for dental healthcare, for people to see mental health professionals. In fact, we're talking about dentistry, but mental health area is one big area that nobody has even touched at all. A lot of people have a lot of issues in this country. And like somebody said, politically, a lot of people have, they're undergoing depression right now. And a lot of others are also having anxiety about the future. These are serious political health, mental health issues. In other places, people attend to them. Additionally, we want to let you know that one of the things we have as a priority is to recruit and send into Nigeria 160,000 to 200,000 public health professionals, doctors, immediately as soon as we take over office, so that people can have access to even check their blood pressure, which most people have never done. Behind your back, I make fun of doctors in Nigeria that you only have 2 diagnoses when you come and see you. It's either malaria, and then after 3 days you upgrade it to typhoid. But that's the prevailing situation. Having said that, thank you once again, and I want to quickly answer the issue of Boko Haram by saying 4 things that are responsible for what you are seeing today with Boko Haram. I covered Boko Haram extensively as a journalist. I know what's going on. And the first thing is that there's no correct leadership in the military. The leadership in the military is weak, is compromised, is corrupt. I'm saying it, you're hearing it from me, and I've said it several times, I've documented it, and that is a problem. The second is that the military has no business in public civilian policing. A lot of our military personnel are involved in quelling civil rights strife in villages, towns, and cities, instead of leaving that completely to the police. So in about 30 states in Nigeria today, military men are drafted to be manning roadblocks, fighting traffic, most importantly escorting VIPs all over the place. They have no business doing this, but that's what we're doing. So the thing is to separate the military so that they can defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria whenever Nigeria feels threatened, and the police to be strengthened enough to do policing work, which has not been going on for a long time. The police completely has retreated from the business of policing. The number 3 thing here is that our weapons that we have are not up to standard to fight the kind of modern insurgency that we are facing. You must have seen a video that has been going around in the last few days. They were made by soldiers. The soldiers are saying that their T-72 tanks were bought in 1983. Also, I have documented this. There's nowhere in the world where military travels around in open roof vans to fight, insurgents. They use what they call armored personnel carriers. Even armored personnel carriers sometimes are not adequate. Every day they keep improving upon that. But you know what they do in Nigeria? They get the contracts, they give it to somebody somewhere in Abuja, they go and import vans, they take it to weather to be adding some accessories to it, including gun carriers, and then they start driving inside the desert. And when Boko Haram ambush and kill, we start shouting that they have killed our soldiers. The last thing I'll say is that terrorism in Nigeria has become a business. Big, profitable business. I'm telling you. I don't want to mention, but we are coming from somewhere now that somebody was telling us. We sat with someone and said, this place was built by a senator. He made his money when Yar'Adua was in power. He made more money under Jonathan. And they made all this money from the fight in the Northeast against terrorism. It's big business. If the Nigerian army that defeated insurgents in Liberia ended the one in Sierra Leone cannot defeat Boko Haram, just know that there is a business going on that there. What we are coming to do is to end that business. We will end the business by being in charge and commanding the armed forces of Nigeria. Most importantly, we have to fire our commander-in-chief right now. The man doesn't know what he's doing. And we cannot be wasting our time promoting and voting for the same people who have failed us in the last 3 years. Yes, we voted out Jonathan because he was engaging in corruption, but we have also found corruption in the armed forces now in a way that is compromising the integrity of our people. Listen, when they started the war on terrorism, when the Boko Haram thing started, people, they come almost neutralize it by making it a religious affair. Oh, it's Boko Haram, Christians fighting Muslims, or Muslims fighting Christians. And some Muslims also inadvertently became defensive for Boko Haram by saying, oh, you're attacking us because of our religion. Today, Boko Haram is no longer killing Christians. They are killing anybody they can find, particularly Muslims. They have bombed more mosques, now we know, than they have bombed churches. Because we said it from the beginning that this war is not about religion. It's about people who are fighting against society. And it is what society did years ago. The education we refused to give children, where they needed it in Maiduguri, is what is fighting back. The poverty that our politicians promoted is what is providing the ready-made army of young people who are willing to go and die for Boko Haram leaders. So having understood this, having studied it, having worked on it, I'll give you, and I'm not making mouths, as I say, I'm not bragging. Knowing what I know about the war against terrorism, I can tell you that we can take care of Boko Haram in a matter of months. And it's not going to involve dialogue. It involves governments being governments, the army becoming the army again, and not business people. Getting rid of generals who are businessmen. Generals who want to be businessmen should be allowed to do business. Soldiers are fighters, and they should be allowed to fight with all the equipment and the training and the protection they need. Soldiers are crying out to us. This is the first time in Nigeria's history that soldiers are begging civilians to come and help them. If this was in the 80s, we would have had a coup. Absolutely. Over this nonsense that's going on in the Northeast. The soldiers would have marched into. It's only that coups are no longer acceptable from way of overthrow. I'm telling you seriously, what we have been toying with our soldiers in the last few years would have caused a coup in Nigeria if we were in the 80s. Absolutely. They wouldn't have taken this from us. But with the right kind of leadership in place that would bring about real leadership in the military, in the armed forces, professionalizing it, providing training, and providing protection and weaponry that is expected of modern warfare, guerrilla warfare, we will fight these guys to a standstill. And when we fight them to a standstill, they will be the ones calling for dialogue, not the army begging ragtag armies that they want dialogue. So that's my position on this. As you know, and I say finally, anytime I'm responding to issues that have to do with deep policies, I'm very careful not to reveal too much, because APC people are watching us and they like to steal our ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. You willing to take more questions?
I will take one more because we still have to go.
Okay. Somebody wanted to ask a question.
Why Rabiu, sir?
Wait.
Well, Mr. President and Vice President, welcome to Kano again.
Thank you.
I've been a follower of Sowore from 2006. I am an avid leader of Sahara Reporters. He changed the media landscape. For that, I have great respect for Mr. Sowore. Well, you already have a big profile as an activist and as a media man. And a few things I want clear from you is your thoughts about the governance in Nigeria, particularly issues of resource control. You are from the Niger Delta part of Ondo State, where there is oil. I have read your history. You are also almost shoeless, but not as shoeless as Jonathan. You understand? So, from the north, there is this aversion to issues of resource control, and you are in the north. You have to be open to us.
Yes.
Do you also subscribe to the idea of resource control, like Atiku is promising like 90%, I think, of oil to the regions that produce it? In the north, we are landlocked. We have vast land, we have agriculture, but everything we have had been taken away from us when oil came on board.
Yes.
Even the electricity, we struggle to get it. 90% of the electricity is in the south. The NIPP that were produced from the money that was taken from the 3 tiers of government, I think there is only one in Kogi State, which is in the north. All of them in the south. So we don't have anything. Even the industries are dying. So, and you've seen the army of youth that are in Kano, whose future is at stake because of these problems. So on top of this, even if you're going to have resource control, we want to see how you want to factor us in the northern region as we head toward that. Again, the issues of Nigeria with NNPC as a cesspool of corruptions, and Atiku coming up with this idea of selling NNPC. You understand? I know you are a socialist, you may not buy that idea, you understand? But I want to know, what exactly do you want to do with NNPC when you happen to be at the center, which is the thing that is giving the money to the country, and every president seems to be de facto Minister of Petroleum because of the money that is there, you understand? And another thing is the issues of this prevailing insecurity. Northeast seems to be taking the attention, but there is much more problem now with clash between Hamas and Hades. You go to Zamfara, every day people are contributing money to save kids that have been kidnapped. Kidnapping is becoming a big business now. We never knew about kidnapping now, but you're lucky that you have a policeman protecting you. With Sowere's name tag, probably when you go outside, somebody can decide to take you and get like 2 million naira, 3 million naira from Sahara Reporters. And this thing has been going even unreported. So we want to see, how do you intend to, you said, yeah, military is not supposed to be in the mainstream of fighting this thing, but the police is so much corrupt. It's so much inefficient. You don't even rely on anything. The system is so much bad that you don't trust anybody now. And you're here, you are young, we're happy, you belong to our generations, you have the energy, you have everything to take us to that promised land. So I really want to see clear thoughts, not really saying that, okay, we'll do that, clear thoughts on how we are going to do that. And again, I want to make reference to what my former chairman said. He was trying to project healthcare as a revenue-generated instrument. And I know healthcare all over the world, we are treating it as a social security concept. You seem to have bought into that idea, but you have not crystallized that. Are you buying truly that you're going to make healthcare a commercial adventure where you make revenue from it? Or you are trying to make it as social, as closer to what we see in the single-payer system, now that we have a system where we are paying healthcare under 3 tiers of government, which is a very cumbersome thing, you understand, with probably less than 5% universal coverage. So these are the few things that I want to get from Mrs. Sowore, and I wish you good luck in your adventure.
Thank you so much. I'll give the last question so that we can answer all of them at once. Last question, please.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to stand before my senior colleagues, my colleagues, and president of the ACC to speak. Okay, thank you very much. As a stout journalist, we have been following you for a very long time, and I'm very impressed and happy the way you gave about 4 points through which you tackle Boko Haram. Another very important sector, because you are here, most of the people sitting in front of you are clinicians and as well as academicians, and as you are aware presently, the Academic Staff Union of University are on strike. I also want to hear from you how you hope to solve this problem of ASU, which has been on and on for in and out for many years, and you've had so many documentaries on Boko Haram, and I'm sure you also have the same on the education sector. So please, we'll want to hear what you have, the specific plans which you will tackle, because we have many of our younger ones presently at home, and you know, if we don't solve this problem, some of them still will be the ones that will be recruited through this Boko Haram and this kidnapping issue which we are talking about. So it's a really big menace. So how do you hope to tackle this issue of Academic Staff Union closing down the entire universities of the countries and so on and so forth? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the question of the governance, I'll go straight into it. And resource control is a big masquerade in the room that you're talking about. And I want to answer by saying, you know, people who are saying or shouting about resource control have no idea what in some ways resources mean or resource mean. They don't understand something that I come from that region, that even oil as a resource has a limitation of a timeline. That's, you know, the lifespan of oil is no more than another 10 years before it will become a useless resource. The reason is simple. Technology is driving how cars are made, aeroplanes are made. A lot of cars are no longer going to rely on petrol in the next few years. They're going to rely on solar energy. And one of our cardinal ways of generating energy in Nigeria is to come to the north and use solar energy to be a major source of generating electricity. So if solar energy becomes a major source of generating electricity, and most of the solar farms are based here in the north, so you are going to be the owners of the next oil. And as a result, you will be the ones actually shouting for resource control when it's time, because everybody will be buying electricity from the north or energy from the north because you are using renewables to generate energy. One of the things I want, by the time you get there, however, I want even the people who will come together in Niger Delta that, listen, Nigeria as a country, we might have poor people, but don't forget that this year alone, a state called Kebbi generated, I think it's Kebbi, where they grow rice. They generated 150 billion naira from rice cultivation alone. The state, if they decide, don't even need to go to Abuja to go and ask for oil revenue. That means people are getting creative in the way they generate resource in this particular part of the country. But most importantly, let me also go philosophical. Let's assume that, you know, the Niger Delta becomes Christmas tree at night. Sure. They have so much wealth, but they are yet surrounded by poverty. You know, from Benin, Edo State to, you know, Kogi State. Do you think that the rest of the country will be looking at you if you are wealthy and you are just there? They just, look at Niger Delta area. They have money, but the rest of us, we don't have money. We just wake up and pray for them every morning. They will invade the place. America is an example. America has the best army, navy, air force in the world. But whenever poor people want to come to America, you heard about the latest caravans. Yes. Everybody start moving towards America. America cannot do anything about it. Even if they construct the wall that Donald Trump is planning to construct, people will burrow through the wall, under the wall. People will jump over the wall. They will create aircraft that can deliver people on the other side. You know, a one-time, you know, aircraft. Stupidity is the way I call it when people say they want to construct walls. Walls cannot stop poor people from going over to poverty. Why do you think young Nigerians are willing to go from here, Kano, here, to Agadez, from Agadez to Libya, and from Libya to Europe? And then they know that most likely they will die in the Mediterranean Sea, but yet they will make it. Because When people are poor, they will do everything to climb out of poverty. So people who are talking about resource should not forget that the biggest resource Nigeria has got are the Nigerian people. And that one you can't control. There's no resource control that can control the people, but you can channel the energy of our Nigerian people to make the whole of Nigeria wealthy first, to make this place become the food basket of the continent of Africa, and to affect the life of Africans. That is the president that I'm going to be. It's not the president that is fighting for one section of the country to be rich while fighting for the rest to be poor. No. And what is most important is for Nigeria to have leaders who can control and manage, not control, but manage its resources. When the resources are properly managed, nobody will ask for resource control again. The reason is that if I can travel from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri in 4 hours in a fast-moving train, Maiduguri to Lagos, who cares about resource control? I'm able to move, I'm able to conduct business, I'm able to be happy in Nigeria, doctors are working, universities are not on strike, because we are managing our resources now, not controlling it. Because the people who are shouting for resource control the most, do you know them? The Jonathans of this world. What did they do with the resources that they had? They had oil selling at the point almost $120 per barrel. The resources, money came in. The Niger Delta today is poorer than when oil was selling because of the characters that were managing the resources that they were controlling. That is the fact that 13% of Nigerian revenue still goes to the Niger Delta region. So I'm not here to divide Nigeria, and I'm not here to conquer Nigerians. I'm here to manage the resources of Nigeria so that the people that we call Nigerians can become the biggest resource to themselves, and they can become happy as a result. And we will no longer have the North versus the South. Some people are actually calling for regional governments. But the truth is this, which region today can manage its resources? Where, even when you create the regional government, where are you going to find the people to manage the regions? Where are the Aminu Kanos again? Where are the Bafemi Awolowos again in Nigeria? Where are the Michael Okparas again? They don't have them anymore. So you create regions, the regions are still going to be managed by the thieves who are trained in Abuja, who will return to their various regions. That's yesterday I got a boo-boo, Abara Babariga, yes, but he didn't have pockets to put dollars. I wasn't happy. The strike by ASU is a question of investment in education. Yesterday, I went on AIT. If anybody watched me on AIT, and they were asking, what do you do to take out children who are out of school? Majority of them, by the way, are here in Kano and in North. And I said to them, we have to be specific. How much do we want to spend on every child that is out of school? And my proposal is we take 100,000 naira per child and put them back in school. That 100,000 will buy them uniform, 2 pairs each. This is a social experiment that I want to do, and I hope they'll let me do it. It will give them lunch twice a day, food twice a day. They have a brunch as soon as they arrive school. Before they leave, they'll have lunch, right? Not the one they put inside nylon bag, real lunch, right? And it will let them see a doctor. We put a sick bay in every school, right? It will build toilets, it will hire them teachers. It's your 100,000, we hire you a teacher, give you food, and see what will happen to our children. Even the Amajiris, nobody will go to madrasa anymore. But here is what it will do. In the future, Nigeria will have to spend less on these children. Because when you don't send children to school, you have to feed them when they go to prison. Do you know how much we spend on any prisoner? Every prisoner, 14,000 naira per day. 40,000 naira times 30. How much? Yes. And Azazaki, if you are a bigger prisoner, you spend 3.5 million naira per month. So instead of spending 14,000 naira per day to feed a prisoner, why do you spend 100,000 naira a year to send a child to school. Is that not commonsensical? That is what we should do. And when you train a child and they have a chance to become doctors instead of becoming criminals. That is not to say there are doctors who cannot be criminals, because Saraki is a doctor. Just to warn you, doctors. Yes. But you know, the more money we spend to develop our children, the better the future of the country. You know, it's an investment you are making 10 years down the line. And you come to Kano and there will be too many doctors, there will be too many accountants, and there will be agricultural experts, there will be technologists, and you say, wow, Sowore was here 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, and look at what he has achieved. And this is not new. This is what Aminu Kano was about. This was what Rimi them did in this town before. When we were driving around Kano yesterday, it reminded me of Accra. There's some similarity between Kano and Accra, except for that the fact that Kano is broken, Accra is developing, one of the fastest developing West African cities, right? That is the only difference. The infrastructure is already there even in Kano to build new houses, to build new schools, to provide jobs. The industries are even still there. But go to the railway station in Kano. You guys pass the place every day. It's different from the propaganda you see in Abuja. They said they have revived the railway. But we passed the railway yesterday. We didn't see no railway coaches there. We just say, but there used to be a time that people wear suits and enter the railway from Lagos to Kano with pride, with their families. Where are we today? Whereas Morocco has just introduced the fastest moving train on the continent of Africa last week. We just introduced the worst moving train on the continent of Africa, 13 kilometers per hour. That is how our train moves in Lagos. I entered it, I did a video about it. So, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, we can solve a lot of problems, including security problems, health problems. We made the right investment. The university lecturers who are always going on strike are asking for us to invest just a fraction of our money in the education sector. And I'll say this final thing so that you can understand. In the between 2011 and 2014, Nigeria borrowed 5.3 trillion naira to 150 businessmen, private sector. Yes, that they didn't pay back. AMCON is trying to recover the money. 5.3 trillion naira. How much is ASU asking for? 1.3 trillion naira? Yeah, is anybody in ASU here?
Yeah. We are.
Yes. So how much are you asking for nationwide? I think it's
less than 2 billion.
Less than 2 trillion. Yeah, so we can give 5.3 trillion naira to 150 businessmen who are flying around with private jets, building hotels and enjoying. But we are not willing to give 2 trillion naira to all our universities. For all of them, not one university. All of our universities combined together. In fact, when I mentioned yesterday I want to spend 100,000 naira on every child, one PDP chieftain was mocking me on Twitter. Sowore can you imagine? He did the calculation and he said, how can we get 1.3 trillion naira to give to children who want to go to school? But the question is, that is less than what Atiku has stolen from Nigeria when he was vice president. That's less than how much he stole. The man made enough money, he controls all the water out of the Northeast, Faro water. He has a university that nobody in the Northeast can attend. He built it. And you are there mocking somebody who says we want to give money to children to go to school. How can I be a crime? I'm a beneficiary of free education under Awolowo. Otherwise, I will be a palm wine tapper today. Yes. That's true. I would have been like one of those children standing on the streets who cannot find food to eat. We need, for the sake of posterity, we need to invest in the future of these children so that the way our fathers disappointed us, we will not disappoint them. That's my final word. Go back, Abba.
Thank you very much, Mr. President in the making. I want to ask Dr. Mohammed Datti, the consultant anesthesiologist in this hospital, to give us a closing remark. so that we can allow you to go, because you have a tight schedule. Thank you. Dr. Mohammed, please.
Thank you very much, sir. President and Vice President in waiting. I'm sure we are convinced that you are not one of the pretenders, but real contestants to the highest office of the land. And we are convinced. I know you're just giving us the tip of the iceberg of what you have for Nigeria to revamp, to get Nigeria moving again, to enjoy the years when Nigeria was working well. Like you said, most of us here are beneficiaries of free qualitative education. And we are really grateful that you are here to share your ideas on what you have to move Nigeria and make it work again. So we thank you very much, and we hope, well, we know we have one of us here, and we can always channel our ideas here. And we'll keep reading stories from Sahara reporters, and so that we can channel our ideas. And like one of the past chairmen said, that we are willing to be a think tank to make Nigeria moving again. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Inside here or outside?
Outside of the bread. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So why we go down a group picture? I think somewhere like I think it's best.
I think they're
Many, but
when it comes to
The presidential and vice presidential candidates Omoyele Sowore and Rabiu Ahmed Rufai just concluded a meeting with the medical community and they're just joining us. They're still live in Kano, Nigeria. And Omoyele Sowore and Rabiu Rufai just finished a meeting with the medical team in Kano Fitness. As usual, guys, donating to the movement because we can't do it alone. We need everything that we can get: money, stickers, posters, flyers, offices, cards, anything that you can do, to make Nigeria better, to make the campaign easier, to make the election ours to win.
It's quite historic. Thank you.
So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining on this broadcast. Turn on your post notification, and I'm sure you come, to join us online soon as you get the notification that we'll be live. It's like I'm your skin again. I'm still your favorite TV girl, Zainab. Bye bye.